Hot sports all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hot sports all plays. Network. Hot sports all plays. Network. We on top of our game. Hot sports all plays. Hot sports all plays.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
Y'all ready for a great show tonight?
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? You're now tuned in to ASAP Real Talk. My name is Christopher Brown. I got some great guys with me today. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and let them know what they're in store for today.
Oh, this is Kenny Moore. I'm coming in hot. I'm telling you from the door, I'm coming in hot. My Knicks is on fire. So I'm coming ready to fire from all angles. So be ready. Buckle up. Let's go.
Indeed. Jay?
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Had to go out, go back in. You know how I do sometimes. But no, I'm ready to get another great episode kicked off. Back with the crew again. Thoughts out to Freddie. He should be back with us on Monday, handling some family business, but definitely ready to get this one going.
Nate?
It's Nate the Great. We're gonna be starting off things really, really hot. I have a really, really interesting hot take about the draft, but we'll get to that later.
Okay, hot takes. Nate, since you said you have a great hot take for us, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I think coming into this draft, the best cornerback coming out of this draft would be Jaycee Horn.
Okay.
I looked at some of those numbers. Jerry Jeudy going up against him. He only it was one game. He caught one catch for 7 yards against Jaycee Horn. And there's some other guys out there that could not put up the numbers. So I think he's going to be the best cornerback coming out of the draft.
Okay, Kenny, what you got for us with the NFL hot takes?
The Rooney Rule is not working, and it needs to be changed.
No, that's facts.
Yeah, you had seven openings and one African American coach hired, and the hottest candidate, Eric Bieniemy, didn't get one of those jobs. So clearly the rule isn't working, and it's just time to revisit it. And to me, I think it's time to require that at least one of the finalists be an African American. I think that's the only way that you're going to really see some change happen.
Real quick though, Jay, before you go, real quick. I don't know why teams were so like, I want to coach now. I would have waited to get Eric Bieniemy. I would have waited because there are a lot of coaches that got hired are not compared to him. Like their resumes don't compare. The talent, the value wise they have do not compare. I would have waited out for Eric Bieniemy. I think a lot of teams jumped the gun thinking they got the right guy, and now yet again Eric Bieniemy has to wait when he is one of the best. First of all, he's probably the best assistant coach. And when he gets hired, he's going to take off and be one of the best head coaches. So I'm with you on that. He definitely should have got hired. But Jay, your thoughts?
I 100% agree, but it's one of those things. I look at it all the time, and I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm sure it's kind of similar. I'm proud. and I'm sure a lot of people think that way. You know, they want to fight. They're used to the adversity and they're used to fighting against it. So I get where you're coming with the one of them having to be a finalist, but I'm also tired of the token, because I feel like they'll all interview the same one or two candidates and run those through, and there goes the Rudy rule. So you know what I mean? I feel like Byron Leftwich. I feel like, you know, Bename. I feel like there's a lot of guys that should be looked at, should be interviewed more, should be spoken to more, that don't. And I think the same few guys every couple years are cycled through these interview process and don't really get hired. So I think there's a lot more than just being a finalist, because again, I feel like, all right, these token guys are now going to be finalists instead of just being interviewed. So I think there has to be more to it. And I think it has to be like more of a league mandate. We can't look at one team because it's easier to get around it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say that, you know, you didn't do your due diligence and you had your guy. But if there's 8 teams hiring and 0, you know, go that direction, I think that's a league thing. Like, we need to figure that out. That should be something where we work out somewhere in there. So there's a long way to go with it. I'm really on your side with that though, Kenny. And it's messed up because it's not a situation where we're asking for handouts. It's not a situation where we're saying, let us try. These guys are way more proven and way more, you know, backed as far as, you know, being qualified for the position than a lot of the guys that were just hired, like you said, Chris. So again, there's something has to change. I definitely agree with that. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I just think that, you know, finalists speaks to a higher level of due diligence. That means that you haven't gotten just that token interview. That means that you have gotten the first interview and you're coming in the second time to, you know, meet with the decision makers. That means, you know, you're having a meeting with the owners. You're having a meeting with the GM. You've already, you know, kind of went through that first phase of it, and you're a legit candidate. To me, right now, it's more of a token now than it is. You know, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, yeah.
I just don't want it to be moved.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Because I agree.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, when you have a seat at the table with the decision makers, that makes a difference. So
huge difference.
I think Romeo was for a second. He was a token. He was getting interviewed.
Oh yeah, he was the interim. He's been the interim like 3 or 4 times, I think. Like, so he's Mr. Interim coach. And even in Texas, the coach that they hired for the Texas down, this guy's a career assistant.
Correct.
Makes no sense.
And he's in his 60s. Like, come on, man. That's not progress to me, man. You just that's
settled.
That's appeasing. To me, that's appeasing. And I read something today in ESPN where there was a rule that was proposed to speak to the Eric Bieniemy situation, that no hires can happen until after the Super Bowl.
I think that should goes in effect, because he would have been the first head. He would have been hired, and the quarterback coach would have been hired over a lot of, you know, offensive coordinators that was hired throughout this process. I'll be honest, like he was the hottest candidate.
How much do you think Eric is demanding though, as a first year coach? Do you think it's
because a lot of people keep you know, you're always gonna have the guys that want to bring up his past, and I feel like because, you know, his past incident, I think he just wants to go somewhere and be a head coach. I don't think he's demanding for the Brinks coach. I don't think he's demanding for a whole bunch of money. So he just wants to go in a great situation where he can take over, where he can take over and show his talents and really make a change. I don't think he's asking for.
I would love to see it, and I'm tell you what, Leftwich, man.
That's another one. That's right.
I really like Leftwich, and I think that once he gets in, he's gonna shine. And you know, for Leftwich, it's that quarterback that, to me, I'll be honest with you, when I was younger and Leftwich came on the field, I was watching him every move. I was like, man, this dude is really good. He has a chance to be really, really good. I think his weight caught up to him, but that boy like to eat. But
hey, Jacksonville got some great food. I can speak. I
can't blame him. Yeah. But I think that what caught up to him. But he was really, really smart. And then when he transitioned into coaching, he did it so gracefully. And then, every year he's been improving. I think Leftwich is going to be a cornerstone of a franchise here soon. But again, he should already had his chance.
Mm-hmm.
Way before this. So, shoot, Jacksonville, as many coaches they didn't had. Why
That's
haven't
what
they called these?
I was just about to say, like, Urban Meyer is a splashy hire.
It's a name.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I get that. But this next round, because Urban ain't gonna be here but 3 years tops.
But
he only
how
stays
many
in the
years
job
since
2 years
Leftwich
before
been
he
gone?
burns out.
How many coaches since Leftwich been gone? Like,
I have no. It seems
Too
like
many.
Yeah.
It seems
he
like
could have got one of them.
Nah, I'm with you.
I agree. Definitely.
But here's my hot take before we move on to the first NFL topic. My hot take is that you're going to see a lot of trades happening on draft day. On draft day, because there's a lot of teams in positions right now that they don't know what they want to do. They don't know if they want to go wide receiver. They don't know if they want to go corner. You have teams right now they don't even know if they want to draft a quarterback. So you're going to see a lot of teams shopping, trying to move back and try to gain a lot of picks. I feel like, sadly, that's what my Eagles did. They think there's a lot of guys in the draft that they like, but I know they can't draft. So, but at least we got another first round pick. But you see teams moving up and you see teams moving back because they're trying to figure out what's best for them. And I feel like this draft is, you have to do your homework because there's going to be guys that's going to be drafted, higher than other guys, and it shouldn't go down like that. So I feel like this draft, you're going to see teams trading away, and you better hope these teams do their homework because you don't want to miss out on the future for your team. And speaking of the future for your team, let's move on to the next topic.
Wait,
who do you?
I didn't get my hot take in real quick.
Yeah, he didn't give his
I
topic.
thought you gave it in when you was talking to Kenny. My bad.
Don't even worry about it. It's gonna be a one-liner. We get it out there. But I say there's 10 Pro Bowlers in the first round of this draft, and I think that we're gonna have a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people picked over them. Micah Parsons, J.C. Horn, Surtain. There's going to be a lot of them.
Some Phillips if he stays healthy.
Phillips.
Question. How many of them are going to be quarterbacks of those 10?
Huh?
The first
of those 10, how many of them are going to be quarterbacks?
When I say Pro
Bowlers, the 10 Pro Bowlers.
First 3, I'm talking about rookie contracts.
Oh, okay.
I say out of the rookie contracts, quarterbacks, possibly one. I don't think there's a lot of quarterbers now, man.
No, I was just curious.
I give you that. There's a ton of quarterbacks. So it's like
that's hard.
Be in the NFC. Yeah. You have Rodgers. You have 2-3 quarterbacks in the same division. So
yeah. I think Trevor Lawrence, if he really locks in, but he doesn't have the team around him. Right. He has the talent. And it's just really where these other guys goes. Like if for some reason Atlanta messes around and picks Mac Jones, okay, Mac Jones has a real good shot, to really go out the first couple of years and really prove something with that type of receiving core. So
Mac Jones not playing for a few years.
Huh?
Jay, you said that he doesn't. Did you say he doesn't have a team around him, or he does?
Jacksonville, they don't have no real team.
No,
they do have a running back and a wide receiver, but
that's not enough. Jacksonville. That's not enough. That's not enough.
I said Trevor Lawrence has talent, but he doesn't have a team around him.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, then you switch over and look at Mac Jones.
Those skill playing guys are not.
They're not good enough.
These are good. These are solid. These are good. They're not elite, in my opinion.
None of them?
I'm talking about the Jaguar guys. DJ Chark and Robinson.
They're not elite.
They're not good. They're not elite.
And Sharmer hasn't shown, he hasn't stepped on the field yet for me to say he's a guy that can make good guys go elite. I haven't seen him play in the NFL game for me to give him that nod. That nod only goes to certain quarterbacks. And I don't like for him not to step on the NFL field, I can't give it to him. But I want shout out to Kendall in the comments, shout out to Dave in the comments. Your Bears going to move up for a quarterback. Who knows what your Bears are going to do?
They need to do something.
You signed Andy Dalton. I can't talk because my team said they want to have a quarterback competition, and our backup quarterback is Joe Flacco. But you guys replaced Mitchell Trubisky with Andy Dalton. But let's move on to the next topic. With 49ers, moving up to the number 3 spot in the first round, who do you think they should draft? I'll go first on this. for me, even though the reports came out, with him, and the disease, I feel like Justin Fields should be the number three pick. Because if I'm looking at it, let's say for me, it's 3 and 4 where it's like you don't have to play right away. If Atlanta drafts the quarterback, that quarterback doesn't have to play right away. You can learn behind, Matt Ryan. If the 49ers draft their quarterback, that quarterback isn't asked to play right away. Now, if Jimmy G gets hurt, like he usually does every single season, that quarterback's going to be able to step in. But if Jimmy G stays healthy, you're going to be able to learn from that offensive system. I feel like if Justin Fields goes there with that team already, a lot of their guys are young, he's able to build. In a year or two, he's going to be able to take over. He's going to be able to take off. I truly feel like if Justin Fields went somewhere and played his true freshman year, so he had his freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year under his belt, it would be a lot more arguments saying that he should be the number 1 pick. I really believe Justin Fields is that talented. For me, if I had an NFL comparison, I'm comparing him to Deshaun Watson. And I feel like Deshaun Watson is 1B when it comes to talented quarterbacks in the NFL. It's Patrick Mahomes, then it's Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson can throw like Mahomes and run like Lamar Jackson, okay? And I feel like Justin Fields really has that type of talent. So I think if he goes to somewhere like San Francisco, where you got the wide receivers is young, you got young tight ends, you got a relatively young offensive line, you got a young coach. I feel like he's the guy for the future, and if you want to, he can be the guy for now. So I feel like San Fran should go with Justin Fields. Kenny, what you think about that?
I totally agree with you. I think he's the perfect fit for that West Coast style offense that Shanahan runs. He gives you that mobile option, those bootlegs, those run pass options. You know what I'm saying? Getting on the edge, making the defender make a decision. I think he's the perfect fit for San Francisco. So I'm with you, Justin Fields, all day.
What do you think about that, Nate?
Between the 3 guys, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones, there's things that I don't trust about either one of those 2 quarterbacks. Looking at the team's history, look at Mac Jones, team's history. I get that Alabama has been great, and the guys over in Alabama has been great in college. Quarterbacks over there have been great in college. However, the transition from Alabama to the NFL for quarterbacks has not. Same with Ohio State. That being with Trey Lance, the thing that I don't trust about Trey Lance is they took a year off. So he's gonna have to get back into the game. And it might take him a little bit longer to do well in the NFL for me and personally than it would for Justin Fields or for Mac Jones. So Trey Lance for me is out of the equation. I think Trey Lance will be top 10, but I don't think he will be top 5.
Okay.
Justin Fields is my pick because I trust him over Mac Jones.
Yes, Dave, I see your comment. I do feel like Justin Fields is going to be the first Ohio State quarterback to make an NFL. I never thought Dwayne Haskins, I never thought anything of him. If I'm being completely honest, no hate on him, but I didn't think the talent was there.
And I don't think that they were running a pro-style offense. That's the difference with Justin Fields and the rest of these guys. They were running, that spread option, that spread offense, which doesn't really necessarily translate to the NFL. So I think that's the biggest reason why those guys struggle. In terms of the Alabama guys, I just think that I think that's Nick Saban. He recruits game managers.
Yeah, running in defense.
Yeah, he recruits game managers. Yeah, he recruits game managers. He doesn't recruit the guys that Tua was probably the one.
Tua was the one, but he got injured.
That's the one.
Tua was the only one.
Tua wanted to go there. He didn't have to do much recruiting. Tua wanted to go there before he even knew he was going to be that good.
Yeah,
Tua wanted, and he showed that he had the arm, just injuries.
Yeah. So I mean, look, man, you don't trade up to you don't do this and get Kyle Pitts because you already have Kittle. You don't do this and go get Sewell. You don't do this to go get Trey. It's too high. I think you take your chances in the 7, 8, 9, 10 range for Trey. Mm-hmm. So this is a Fields or bust situation.
Yep.
I don't think Zach Wilson is what they were looking for. If you just want to ask me personally, just looking at, the stuff they've been saying, things like that, I think it would have been a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields, no matter what. So I feel like if Justin Fields goes number 2, their ship is sinking.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah,
I agree.
They're just going in a new direction.
There's no
That's
new direction to go this
Yeah.
time.
No, there's new directions to go.
No, you can't. You can't.
Soul's going to be like Quentin Nelson, Pro Bowler his first year.
But you can't go trade up that high and get Soul, and then still have the Jimmy G issue going into next year with this many quarterbacks in this draft.
You right.
But then that
That's
means
it.
you believe in Jimmy G if that's the case.
Or you
No,
can still trade back.
You cannot.
You can still trade back though.
You
can
can,
still
but you
trade back.
already. But you see what I'm saying? You already made a move. You already made a splash. So
You
I
right.
feel like
Yeah.
it's Fields are bust in this situation. Yes, you have an alternative because you're forced to.
You can
Yeah,
trade. You can. A lot of people go. If a lot of people like Wilson. So if Fields go 2, there's a lot of teams that like Wilson. So now you're gonna be able to trade back and gain more picks. I agree
can't.
with you that
You
it's Fields or bust
Yeah,
for
but
us. For
where?
us, it's Field for bust.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, New England. I take that back.
I mean, they can still trade
If they
out.
trade
They can
back
still
New
trade out,
England.
but I still think that's abort mission. That's abort
Mhm.
mission move. That is. an
Oh,
abort
I
mission.
agree. No, I 100%
So-
agree.
I feel like their target's Fields. It's a great plan
Mhm.
because you're not really having to change your style of offense. You're speeding it up.
Mm-hmm.
You're speeding it up. That's all you're doing. And I think it also gives Jimmy G a slap in the rear. Like, yo,
Oh yeah,
you got 6 games.
yeah. I'm on your heels.
You got 6 games.
right here.
I'm not about to come
Yeah.
out here. And this is one thing they shouldn't do. They shouldn't come out and say this is the open competition. None of that stupid stuff. We know what you did. Let the man go to work.
Mhm.
Give him 4 to 6 games. He ain't
That's
cutting
it.
it.
Out of
Yeah.
here. Out of here.
So,
But wait,
That
let me
or-
ask y'all this. Let me ask
That
y'all this.
or until Fields is ready though.
Let me ask y'all this though.
No.
Let me
No.
ask y'all
Rush
this.
Field- Hold on. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. What about Pitts? You put Pitts with Kittle, and you have that New England situation like with Gronk.
I would
and-
love it, but Jimmy
and
G's
Hernandez?
still a question mark though. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. That is a brilliant idea because that's what New England's going to do again this year. But it's still Jimmy G that he's the reason why they lost the Super Bowl. He showed that you cannot trust him as a quarterback.
And when Gronk and Anthony were down there, Gronk wasn't getting paid like this. Kittle's already the highest paid. He's getting paid like a receiver. So I don't know if I could do that. That with this,
But
high
he's
of a
still
draft-
he's on his rookie contract though.
Nah,
so he's
I'll
not
be
gonna-
honest though.
he's
Kittle's
not
a
gonna break
dog.
the bank just yet.
Kittle's a dog.
Who?
Kittle be cool for it.
No,
Just-
Kittle's cool for it.
he'll be cool
But
for it because
in
he
San
likes run
Francisco-
blocking. That's a
But
different
in
type
San
of
Francisco is
tight
what I'm
end.
talking about. I'm talking about that money situation with the tying it up that way, where now you got a third round, you got a third overall pick in a tight end and one of the highest paid tight ends in the league with a I don't know about quarterback.
No, that's what I'm saying. If it's any other quarterback, I'm with it. I'm taking that deal. I just don't trust the QB. And real quick, Jay, I forgot what we was talking. Oh no, yeah, I remember when you were saying, 4 or 6 games, then you're throwing Fields in. If Fields not ready, you're still going to throw him into the fire.
At that point, yeah, he better be ready. I just picked him third overall. We don't have that option.
Well, I think you go to the bye week. You
Yeah,
go to the bye week, and then you
I-
bring him in to have that extra week of practice and
Well, that
then
depends. If
start him
they
out.
get a late bye week, Freddie.
Well, yeah,
if-
exactly.
If,
Depending
if
on,
they get a
yeah.
late,
Yo.
if they get a late bye week, like week 8, I don't. That's too long.
That's half the season, though.
mm-hmm.
Perfect,
For me-
perfect
For me,
halfway.
if you draft like Mac Jones or Justin Fields, I don't even think Jimmy G's going to be on the team in week 1.
No,
Because
you
I-
draft. No. You draft.
He's going to
Mac
be on that
Jones.
team.
Yeah, you draft Mac Jones. He makes it for a
Well,
whole year
not
and a half.
necessarily. If we saying because Chris, if you're saying that it's going to be a bunch of trades on draft day, that's not necessarily true. They could move him
You're
on
right,
draft
but
day.
here's my thing: who's going out
Yeah.
their way to trade for Jimmy G?
Well,
I'm still sticking with my hot take that I said a few weeks back, and I think Denver might.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's
Uh,
you're not getting any better. I'd rather draft Trey Lance than trade for Jimmy G if I'm Denver. I'm sorry.
But you could draft Jimmy G and go get a receiver.
We just saw if Jimmy G showed it in the Super Bowl, the biggest stage of them all, if he showed the entire run that he is not a quarterback that's going to win you the game, I'm not going out my way to trade for him because he had everything he needed.
Denver got a lot of holes anyway.
I was gonna say, if you're John Elway, you can't. You've had a run of mediocre quarterbacks, so you gotta get it right. You gotta get it right with this next one.
John Elway's not the GM anymore.
Like
I'm saying, man, you had a run.
I'm drafting. I'd rather draft Mac Jones. I'd rather draft Trey Lance than go ahead out my way and trade for a guy like Jimmy G. No shade, but I watched the Super Bowl and I watched when they stopped going play action and I almost lost my money to me fist bumping, seeing Jimmy G dropping back and throwing the ball with his eyes closed. But let's move on. Let's talk about another quarterback. Let's talk about Cam Newton. Is this season Cam Newton's last opportunity? Jay, I'm gonna go to you first. Is this Cam Newton's last opportunity?
Full disclaimer, it shouldn't be, but it is. I think they've dogged Cam Newton, man, and it all started like we were just talking. We touched on it last week about how these players need more direction, and I think that we need more player coaches in college coming up, to guide these players because it started with Cam Newton back in college, man. And I think Cam Newton had to overcome so much coming in his first few years in the NFL. His reputation, his outspoken attitude, his the way he carried himself with such confidence, it all got to a lot of people. And Cam Newton had 1-2 bad years, and that's all they were waiting for. Cam Newton, his talent ain't gone nowhere. Mm-hmm. His talent, we sit there and watch it, dude, and he has the heart. He has one of the biggest hearts of any quarterback in the league right now. Cam Newton's laying his body on the line. If you down a linebacker, I think Cam Newton would suit up and go play linebacker.
Yeah.
Like
he has the build for it.
And I think he would do it if it took him, helping the team win. And that's the type of quarterback he is, type of player he is, and type of person you want in your locker room. So, yeah, I think this is one of his last opportunities, but I don't think it should be.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I don't think it should be. I had people texting me throughout the year like, Tom Brady, he wasn't this bad with this. Patriots weren't bad with that. You got to understand the weapons that Cam Newton had versus Tom Brady had. Even last year, he like Tom Brady, at least he had Cam Newton really had zero weapons last year. Then you look at the defense, using 6-7 defensive starters. That Patriots team was doomed to begin with. When I look at this team now,
the plays they were running.
The offense was trash. They had no weapons. It was truly run first, and Cam Newton still did his thing. And that game he had against Seattle should have told y'all that he still has something left in the tank when he has two weapons around him. So you go add two, like we talk about the Gronk and we talk about rest in peace Aaron Hernandez. You go add 2 tight ends this year to get the Patriots. You go bring in some more wide receivers this year for the Patriots. Who knows what you're going to do in the draft? They usually hit more than they miss in the draft. I think this year they're really destined to be great. I feel like they can definitely compete with Buffalo to be that number 1 spot in the AFC East. I definitely has them as a lock to go to the playoffs. So when I look at Cam Newton, as long as he gets the job done, I feel like if there's any question marks with his play and they don't make the playoffs, it's probably going to be his last opportunity. But he's able to have a great season, really be that Cam Newton MVP that we had. This team be successful, and he is a huge reason why. I don't think this is the last opportunity. Now, I truly feel like he could re-sign with the Patriots again, and they can draft a young quarterback, and when Cam Newton's done, they have a young quarterback to take over. Because this team isn't young. People not understanding this Patriots team, they have way more veterans than young guys, so they're not restarting right away. They want time to build and go at it again.
I think where the Patriots are set up in this draft, I think is Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons, or trade down. They're going Pro Bowl or nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I don't see them trading down.
I do. I see them trading up.
That's the MO. That's
definitely the way I had my mock draft. I see them. They're going to be able to get a guy in my mock draft. They're going to be able to get one of those guys. They're going to be able to get a guy that they need.
I think they only. I think they only trade down if one of those guys that they wanted, that they were targeting, is not there.
And I truly feel like you said, it's a linebacker, it's a receiver, or I think they trade down and you can get one of those pass rushers towards 18, 19, in my opinion.
And
So
that's the thing, though,
I can see them trading down.
this is such a stacked draft in that first round. I think if they can trade down one of these teams that got 2 picks or have another high pick in the second round, I think it's more lucrative for them. Because you said they're very old. He don't like being like that.
Nope.
Honestly, I think that depends on. For me, for the answer for my question is, I think that New England's going to. I don't see them trading down, but I see them trading up. I see them trading up to and getting that number 7 spot to for Detroit, and Detroit taking that number 15 spot. Although
you got them picking
quarterback probably. Cam Newton, I don't think I get that he didn't have all the weapons out there, but I don't think his arm is just because of the injury. Yeah, none. But I don't think because of his injury that he's been having, that he had back in 2017. Well, it was probably 2017, I think.
The shoulder injury.
The shoulder injury, I don't think he has the arm that he once had. So for me, if my numbers for that number 7th pick, I think New England might draft Trey Lance. And then that number 15th pick, I probably have Detroit drafting a corner. Probably screwing up this draft because they normally do and draft a corner. And maybe draft Jesse Horn. But as for New England, I think New England will sit Trey Lance for a year. And it will honestly depend on what Washington does this year, how well Washington does. Because if the quarterback situation doesn't work out in Washington, that's where I see Cam Newton going.
See, for me, I thought Cam Newton would go there this offseason, but with him, and I you heard him saying how much he wants to go back to New England. That's why I think it's really going to work out there. You could hear how much he wanted to go back and go again. Because if you watch the games, Cam Newton did his thing. He literally was throwing to nobody. He was throwing to nobody. And when we talk about the arm thing, I saw him big prime time game against Seattle throw for almost 400 yards, lighting him up and down the field with no weapons. Him and the old man Joel Edmond on a bad leg, curving up that defense, and him running the same play in the goal line and it working. So I feel like his arm talent isn't gone. Like Drew Brees' arm was gone. Even before the injury, then you saw in the playoffs, his arm was gone. I feel like Cam Newton still has an arm, but plus he's mobile. He's not out of his prime. He's gonna back him in his prime, but he's still better. Like I'm taking Cam Newton before I take guys like Jimmy G. And Jimmy G's getting paid a whole bunch of money and playing. I would definitely take Cam Newton right now on this 49er team that like to be run first. You got a tight end and you got speedy, you got deceptive, talented wide receiver. So it's like Cam Newton for me. I think as long as he gets the job done, he's going to still have a spot because he's still better than a lot of quarterbacks. And I feel like he has to prove it. Now that he has weapons, I think this season, in the way, if you watch, some of the film of him working this all season, Cam Newton and the Patriots are going to have a good year. I'm with you though. Wouldn't be surprised if they draft a quarterback. Even at 15, I feel like they're best of both worlds. They're going to be able to get what they want or trade up just a little bit if they need to. So I feel like Cam Newton right now, they have a Birdman hand rub because they had a great offseason. They can draft well, and they got the guys. So really look out for New England this year.
Well, I think this is, if they do that, if they make that trade that Nate is proposing, and they pick Trey Lance, that's pretty much Cam Newton 2.0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he gets to learn from the guy that that does what he does. So that would make sense. But I think giving Cam a full off season, in the New England Patriot program,
thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Because
they don't understand how.
He basically came in, with no prep time. With COVID, you didn't have the same type of training camp. He didn't get a chance to really integrate himself into that system.
He
And
wasn't
he
flying
still-
out wide receivers like Tom Brady and throwing when they weren't allowed to.
Exactly. That's what I'm
And I
saying.
mean,
So
you gotta remember, this is the X and O genius we're talking about here. So, you know, he's done it for what? How many years has he done it with Brady that can't move left, right,
Mhm.
front, back? The dude says hike
Right.
and stand still. So
right.
when you put a person like a guy like Cam Newton in there, your playbook goes from this big to this big, and then
Sure.
once he's healthy, it's like this. So
Mhm.
the possibilities, and that's to me. I don't know about you guys, but on a football standpoint, that's probably the biggest intriguing part about this connection is watching Mr. Magic get with a
Mhm.
guy that has everything in his tool bag. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it comes together and meshes a little bit more so we can see some really cool plays pop out because that he has the guy that's capable of it.
We saw the glimpse of it this year.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
saw the glimpse.
They're all in for this year, and I think if this doesn't work, they blow it up. And Belichick is out.
But is there
They-
much to
you
blow
know,
up?
No, I'm just saying in terms of they just start
You can get a lot of value back.
a full rebuild
Yeah.
and turn it over to McDaniels and just start a new era. That's what I think.
This year is stacked. That's another thing that New England has to worry about.
Yeah,
What?
Miami, Buffalo,
Miami's up on the
You
rise,
said New England
Chargers
got to
up
worry
on
about the
the rise.
division?
Buffalo,
I
Miami.
think
coming.
I think it's up for
Miami?
grabs.
Yeah, man. They
I
got,
think
yeah,
the
Miami's
division. I think
coming.
the division's up for grabs. I think Buffalo. You
Oh.
can still consider them the favorite,
Absolutely.
but if you look at it, Miami's gone better, and New England has gotten. You know, not only the guys they added in free agency, but you got to think of the 6-7 guys that opted out because of COVID. Those were
Right.
starters.
That's
So
true.
they're adding double-digit players to their team, and they were already in the mix. They already, they lost a lot of games because their quarterback was out because of COVID. So it's
But
like
that's why I said
I'm looking at it.
don't until they beat New England. It's New England's division, especially with him adding players like this, and it's New
I'm gonna
England's
give
division.
her respect
That's
to
assuming-
Buffalo because they
assuming
won
a
last
healthy
year.
Cam,
But
though.
yeah, I
I'll
gave
give
New
respect
England
to Buffalo.
I gave New England the benefit. I said New England was a lot, months ago. I said as soon as they signed, I don't even know how long it was. Whenever they re-signed Cam and right before free agency, I said there was a lot. They made the moves. I said there was a lot. I think it's between them and Buffalo. Miami's right under there, and it's like at me, it don't matter who wins because I think it's going to be even. All teams are double-digit wins this year.
In that division,
Now except for the Jets. Those three teams are going to be double-digit wins. Miami's
Miami's
double-digit.
Even the Jets, though.
Are we playing 17 this year? Miami's
17. Miami's double digits.
Even
Nah,
the Jets, though, I don't think they're going to be double digits. I don't think they're even going to have a win.
Jets better hope for 5 wins. Jets better hope for 5. Their goal is 5. They're not getting no more than 5. Jets suck. They suck.
It's fool's goal. They go get about 3
And I
wins.
love the coach, man. I remember Kenny talking about it last episode. I love the coach and the energy he's going to bring in. But he knows realistically 5 wins is a great season for them.
Right. That's right.
4 wins is a great season
With
for
a
them.
rookie quarterback, you got a rookie quarterback coming
Rookie
in.
coach.
Rookie coach, trying to establish, change the culture, trying to establish, your identity. Yeah, that's 4 or 5 wins. That's the best you could hope for.
Now, keeping with the quarterback conversation, let's talk about a guy in Patrick Mahomes. You saw it throughout Super Bowl week. You had people already throwing him in that GOAT conversation. Even after you started people throwing him in this GOAT conversation. So, Kenny, I'm going to go with you first. Is Patrick Mahomes already in the GOAT category when it comes to quarterbacks all time?
No. He's got to win another Super Bowl before he can get into that category. In terms of GOAT talent-wise, for sure. In terms of talent level, it's no question that he has some all-time greats in terms of that. But you can't he can't get to that GOAT status until he wins another Super Bowl. He's off to a great start. Been in 2 Super Bowls in the last 2 years. But until he gets that second one, he's not the GOAT yet. He can't get in that conversation yet.
I feel you. He's in the same boat right now, like when Aaron Rodgers first, started playing and going off. Like the talent is there. We talking about talents. I mean, I always say Tom Brady is not even in the top 10 when it comes to talented quarterbacks. But you add in everything, and you're gonna have to throw him in there. More likely, he's everybody's GOAT. But it's like, Patrick Mahomes is just a younger version of Aaron Rodgers. If anybody remembers Aaron Rodgers was doing a lot of these things that we see Patrick Mahomes doing right now. No look passes, Aaron Rodgers has been doing that.
No doubt.
Going 49 for 55 in a game, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers has been doing that. Like, Aaron Rodgers had the talent. It was just no social media. There was social media back then. Even this year, some of the things Aaron Rodgers was doing, Patrick Mahomes did. ESPN, Bleacher Report, House Highlights, all those, social media platforms would have went crazy. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's in a GOAT conversation just yet. I do think, however, if he would have won this Super Bowl against Tom Brady, he'd be in the GOAT conversation. Because I always said, if Aaron Rodgers was able to get a win under Tom Brady when it meant the most, like even this playoffs, if he'd have won in the NFC Championship, he'd be high in that GOAT conversation. If he'd have met up with him when they played Seattle in the playoffs, when they played all these teams in the playoffs and lost, and then that team went on their face, New England. If he'd have went against Tom Brady in Super Bowl and got a victory on him, he can be in a GOAT conversation. I feel like Patrick Mahomes has a couple years to go. For me, you could say he's in the category, but I'm not going to be able to take him serious for at least another 4 or 5 years. Jay, how you feel about it?
I mean, that last line that you just said is kind of sums up what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. I put him in the category with an asterisk. My asterisk is he continues this pace. I slightly disagree with you, Kenny. I don't think he needs another Super Bowl. When I'm looking at the Super Bowl winning list, Tom Brady owns a lot of it. Then you got yourself a Troy Aikman. You got a couple,
overrated.
Watch your mouth.
A couple Elways.
Watch your mouth.
Man, that touchdown interception ratio is nasty.
But for the most part, we got one and doners. Some of them grabbed a second. But I really think that the trajectory of his stats, receiving yards, touchdowns, are going to be right there with the best of them. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I think is going to get Patrick over the top at the end is how we started this talent. He's the most talented quarterback ever to touch this field and put it all together. And that's the thing. I mean, we can talk about the angles of which he throws. We can talk about the decisions and when he decides to run. Because by far, I mean, when we compare him to other running style quarterbacks, he's up to par with every single one of them as far as with the legs. But he doesn't run as much as them. He chooses when he needs to do that. And he's a better game manager to me than most of these other similar style quarterbacks as him. So, when I look at the Michael Vicks, he overran. He ran himself out of the game sometimes. I'll take a younger guy. When I look at Kyle Murray, now he's underrunning. He needs to run sometimes, and he doesn't. So, and I think Patrick
stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to stay alive. He's 5'5".
Well, here's the thing. I think he needs to do it more of like a Jake Plummer then. He needs to scramble, but when you're scrambling like that, bro, at some time, leave. Don't create a new pocket again. Leave. Go across the line of scrimmage. Run out of bounds if you got to. But he scrambles in a figure eight trying to get that ball thrown, and I think more often than not, he needs to run and take the 2-yard scramble or throw the ball to freak away. And,
he'll learn with experience, though. He'll learn with experience.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm taking a experienced and then a younger one to kind of see the contrast. But I really think Patrick Mahomes has it together. He just needs to stay on this pace. I don't think he needs another Super Bowl to get it. He just needs the numbers.
Nate?
I've said this before. I've said this on several different shows on the ASAP network. You take... when we're talking about the GOAT conversation, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, I would throw the championships out of the conversation because there's more than one. Quarterback's not the only player on that team.
But he's the most important player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
More important, yes, but not the only player. I mean, Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Does that really mean anything?
Yes, because he outdoed him. Watch the game.
Rex Grossman made it to a Super Bowl, y'all.
But that doesn't mean that he's better than Tom Brady.
Rex Grossman made it to a Super Bowl.
That particular game he was, but I get your point.
Yeah. And so for me, because I don't put that in the conversation, I mean, I don't put championship wins in the conversation. Yeah, I think he should be considered in the conversation for GOAT talk. I honestly don't think that this last Super Bowl, I don't think it was Mahomes' fault that the Chiefs lost. I think it was that offensive line.
All I'm going to say is if people are allowing Patrick Mahomes to get an excuse, and it's a whole nother sport, but I'm saying it because y'all know how I feel about that guy I'm about to say. They're allowing Patrick Mahomes to say, my guys were hurt. Then in 2015, LeBron's first year with the Cavs, they better allow him to say, oh, well, I didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love. I had to say it, Jay. He set it up for me. I had to say it. I'm not taking it back. He lobbed it.
In that case,
my
son should have had a couple championships. Steve Nash got his nose broken.
They ejected everybody for no reason.
You wasn't even in the finals. Stop it. That was a
whole nother conversation for another day. But if all those guys didn't get ejected, y'all winning that, Jay. If everybody didn't get ejected for just trying to check on Steve Nash, y'all beating the Spurs. But let's move on. You know, speaking of Jay talking about his sons, he talks about his sons every single episode. It's time for us to be. It's time for us to be homers. It's time for us to be homers. Nate, I'll go with you first. Who do you want your team to select with their first round pick?
I talked about it with the last team in the AFC West. I think that they should go with an offensive lineman. Now, I do think Penei Sewell will be off the board. I do think Penei Sewell will be off the board. So, you know, looking at the draft, I think looking at the draft, I have to double check to see who's best remaining offensive line. Slater, yeah.
Over you going all line over again. Drew Lock up out of here. I forgot how much you love Drew Lock.
I would keep. Well,
they have wide receivers. They don't need wide receivers. They have plenty.
Yeah, wide receivers they don't need.
No, they have three. They have three bona fide studs.
Now they have spot.
Quarterback I'm keeping for two reasons. One, Drew Lock has been training with Peyton Manning, so I think this really is truly his year.
Dwight Howard was training with Akeem Olajuwon. Didn't get any better. Didn't get any better at all.
I said that wrong. Not his year, as in this is where he will shine. I think this year is his endure or bust.
That's hilarious. Hey, if anybody's going to if anybody can teach him how to play quarterback, it's Peyton Manning. If he can't teach him, he has no hope.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd have texted Elway for advice by now. I'm sorry. Elway's truly
underrated. I was just gonna say, bro, he got Elway up in the stairs.
I'll be talking to Elway every day.
The second reason I wouldn't go quarterback is because I think all five quarterbacks that are probably going to be first round, I think are going to be taken top 7.
All 5?
You got your number 7.
Yeah, top 7.
So
there's only 5. There's only 5.
I could tell you Cincinnati's not taking the QB.
Nope.
True.
So there you got their quarterback. I don't see Miami.
Right.
And Atlanta still doesn't have to take a QB because Matt Ryan does a couple.
There's going to be one or two.
So I'm telling you, Nate, if y'all pass up on Trey Lance, you just better hope he doesn't pan out. But Kenny, let's talk about your Dallas Cowgirls. I mean, my fault. Dallas Cowboys. Who do you think you guys? Who do you think you guys should draft in that first round?
Well, you know, for the Schmiegel fans and the relevant Cardinals. But anyway, I want the Cowboys to pick Patrick Surtain. I want them to, you know, pair him up with Diggs. You know, they already have some chemistry from playing together in Alabama. So I want to see, and that could be the potential, you know, that lockdown combination corners, young combination corners, and we could be set in the secondary, you know, for the next 10 years. If not him, then, you know, Nate, you've been talking about him, J.C. Horn. Either way, I want to see us get another cornerback to put along with Stephon Diggs. And if I had to pick one, I'm picking Patrick Surtain. He got the pedigree, NFL pedigree. So yeah, Surtain is the one for me.
I would be truly surprised if you all go anywhere other than a cornerback, in my opinion. The only one that I'd be like, okay, is if y'all go O-line. But I don't think you pass up on a corner. But if y'all go O-line, I don't think that's a big loss because, truth be told,
if somehow
O-line been injured.
If somehow Pitts fell to 10, that could be.
There's no way he's falling to 10.
I know. I'm just saying.
There's no way he falls to 10. But
if he falls the 8th, there's someone trading up.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely going to be somebody trading up. But Jay, let's talk about your Cardinals. Who do you want Who do you want to draft in that first round?
My dream pick is Pitts, but that's dream.
Yeah, dream.
So 1A is Horn.
Okay.
1A is Horn. The pedigree, Joe Horn's son. I think he's already called Revis Island and seen if it was up for sale. And I think he's going to be the best shutdown corner in the league in 3 years from now. I think literally he's going to be the dog when it comes down to shutdown corners. Leave him on an island, let him be. Don't matter who it is. He's going to have that. I like Surtain too. I think Surtain is a little bit more contact than JC Horn. But I think Horn is just more fluent. So I think he's just going to be that lockdown when it's all said and done. My 1B, I know this is not going to happen, but it could with the way this draft is looking, is Micah Parsons. If we can draft a linebacker that can play middle linebacker, he reminds me, he's not as fast and big, but he reminds me of Willis, from San Francisco, Patrick Willis. So if we can get a guy, like I say, he's not that big, but if we can get a guy that can go sideline to sideline and he can cover the best of them, and then he can pop them in the run game too. And the thing I like about Parsons, you don't have to take him off the field. He could play every single down, and it don't matter who he lines up to. Slot receiver, tight end, it doesn't matter. So 1A Horn, JC Horn, 1B Micah Parsons.
Yeah, it's crazy that we all said the same guy in Horn. He's definitely on my list. It's either him or Surtain. For me, when I look at the Eagles, they have two options. It's wide receiver is wide receiver. That's very harsh. It's either wide receiver or it's corner. They go anywhere else, and I think I'm going to lose it. And so for me, is one of the Alabama boys, one of those wide receivers or that corner, or you go Horn. There's no other option to go. I don't want to see no offensive line being taken. I don't want to see no running backs being taken. I don't want to see you guys draft Trey Lance if he falls to number 12. I don't want to see Micah Parsons being taken. There's two options for you to draft. There's wide receiver, or there's corner. If not, Eagles fans are going to raise hell because we already lost out on Justin Jefferson last year, which I'm not fully mad at unless I see Jalen Reagor become a bust. But a lot of Eagles fans are mad at that. And they're mad that we lost Jamar Chase. So if you don't make out on this number 12 pick, because everybody knows Howie Roseman can't draft. So what I want, I feel like I'm not going to get. But if it was a perfect world, I would be getting one of these Alabama boys, or I'd be getting Horn, and we get it moving. But there's a lot of talent for me. Go ahead, Jay.
One question for you guys. Will a running back make it in the first round?
Yes.
Yeah. The Alabama guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think Najee's gonna make it in the first round?
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
It's personal preference.
It's gonna be
I
late.
think second round we're gonna see. I think second round we're gonna see.
Steelers not passing up on a running back.
I can see Buffalo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Second round, we're gonna see 3 of the top 5 picks go to running backs. I don't think running backs go in the first round. I say 3 of the top 5 picks in the second round go to running backs. I'm pulling up my mock draft right now. I don't see the Steelers passing up on a running back. We talked about their running back issues, and they just lost James Conner. And like you said, Nate, I see Buffalo. Jay, we talked about it. We talked about Buffalo needing a running back. But they need a running back more than they need a linebacker.
I think
if you pull up a lot of mock drafts, they got Buffalo getting a linebacker.
I think
they need a running back more than they need a
linebacker away from winning it last year.
They got Edmonds.
I see him getting. Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's a wild card. I think they go best available.
The best available better be that running back, and that's for this year. This Josh Allen was their best running back last year, and your quarterback can't be your best running back and quarterback. It can't happen all the time.
And both of y'all have been talking for
we've been talking forever about how much
the Bills getting a running back.
They
So
need
yeah,
it. No, they need it.
Yeah.
They need it.
Yeah,
I think
I can't see them passing out.
ETN.
One of them, somebody that can help out, that running game and be a threat when it comes to catching out the backfield. But let's end it off with the infamous rank 'em. We got Steve Smith, we got Brandon Marshall, we got Ocho Cinco. 3 guys that deserve to have that yellow jacket on them. 3 guys that were definitely dominant when they played the game. So Jay, I'm gonna go with you first. How are you gonna rank them? Steve Smith, Brandon Marshall, and Ocho Cinco.
You got 1A and 1B on this one, then you got a third. I think Ocho Cinco's 1A, Steve Smith 1B. And then there's Brandon Marshall. I think Brandon Marshall is very talented. I'm in no way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to disrespect the man. But the things that Steve Smith and Ocho Cinco did were night in and night out. And then they stepped it up for challenges. Mm-hmm. Ocho Cinco made it a thing to call out the cornerback before the game. Ocho Cinco made it a thing to send a shot to the guy he plays next week in the locker room in the last game. And, I really liked both Steve Smith and Ocho Cinco. When I think of a wide receiver, I know this has not much to do with quote unquote on-field play, but when I think of a wide receiver, I think of in your face. I think of showboating. I think of demoralization. That's what your wide receiver can do to a team. It can demoralize a team. And Ocho Cinco and Steve Smith both were good at that. So I say 1A Ocho Cinco, 1B Steve Smith, and then you have Brandon Marshall.
How you feeling about that list, Nate? What's your list?
So I'm going off of stats here. Only because I started following NFL 2011. It was my first ever match that I saw was was actually Peyton Manning versus Eli Manning. Colts versus the Giants.
Not a bad way to start.
Yeah, and then going into 2016, my 9th grade year, that was when I really started to get into it. It was the year after we won the Super Bowl.
Last year, y'all were good.
Yeah. So, going into this, I'm just going to go completely off of stats. I think my number 3 would go Steve Smith, and my number 2 and my number 1 would be back and forth. Completion rating.
Just pick Brandon Marshall. Come on, Nate.
Yeah,
just get to it already. You got him number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta go.
That's why he built up all the stat stuff. He knew it wasn't right.
Yeah. He's trying to soft get to it, man.
It's real
talk, man. Talk that talk.
You say that, but don't you, Chris? You remember this a few weeks ago when I had I'm blanking on his name, but that tight ends. When we're talking tight ends, I had the Broncos tight ends number 3.
Yeah, you did have it, but sometimes I can't always agree with stats because stats don't tell the full story.
They don't.
Yeah.
Not on this one.
For me, this is all personal preference. When I do my list, all my lists are personal preference. I'm not taking anything away from these 3 guys because all these 3 guys were dominant. My number 1 is Ocho Cinco. My number 1 is Ocho Cinco. And this is tough because I would take all these 3 guys over a lot of people. My number 2, only because I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And for me, it's 1A, 1B, 1C. My number 2 is Brandon Marshall. I feel like a guy that was putting up 1,000 yards for 6, 7, 8 straight years with questionable quarterbacks, with questionable teams, with being able to overcome a lot of things that he had personally and still able to dominate the NFL. We never thought of Brandon Marshall. Like, you imagine Brandon Marshall being on a team with Peyton Manning. Imagine Brandon Marshall playing with Aaron Rodgers. Imagine Brandon Marshall on an actually good team that has a chance of making it into the playoffs and he being able to contribute. I mean, being at like 6'5", 240 We talk about how Cam Newton is built crazy for his position. I mean, we only seen a handful of guys built like Brandon Marshall in the NFL, and they've all dominated. And so when I look at a guy his size, you know, Nate talks about stats, having the stats he has, he dominated in a little bit of time. And 1C is Steve Smith. I'm not taking nothing away. I can't say nothing bad. Like usually when I do rank him, I say I'd take this guy over this guy. Like I would take like Steve Smith. Like, yo, you talk about a guy that go ahead try to make, you know, there's some guys that short guy syndrome where it's like, okay, you try to make fun of me and I'm gonna make you regret it. I mean, I see, oh my God, just go if you're having a bad day, type up Steve Smith highlights on YouTube and it will put a smile on your face because you will see him bully a lot of people.
That's a fact.
And that little man syndrome, as in, I'm not gonna let you pick on me because I know I'm better than you. Take height out of it. You have nothing over me. That truly kicks in. And I've always been a huge fan of Steve Smith because I like guys that can talk trash and show you why I'm talking trash and make you apologize for me because I talk trash to you. And for me, that was the type of guy that Steve Smith was. And it is no disrespect to none of these guys. I had to put B. Marshall too because I don't think he gets the credit he deserves because that, you know, that playoff success and the fact that he never made it to the playoffs, like Nate said, like Kenny said, like there's a whole bunch of guys on the team. A wide receiver definitely isn't the reason why the team was unsuccessful. Because you look at his numbers, they're Hall of Fame worthy. They're definitely Hall of Fame worthy.
So I got Steve Smith number one.
And I ain't mad at you.
Reason why is because he put up big numbers and he did his thing on two teams. Like that's what separates for me between him and, you know, because with Ocho Cinco, once he left Cincinnati, he was basically trash. And Brandon Marshall, he was never the same after he left Denver. So that's why I got Steve Smith. And I think he had a longer career out of all three of them. He did. He definitely had a longer career. So that's what separates it for me. And then also he was, to me, between him and Ocho, because I got Ocho Cinco number two. Steve Smith was he was in terms of the route tree, he did more, you know, where Ocho Cinco was more of a deep threat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he caught it. He caught the ball everywhere in the field. So that's why I got him one. And Ocho Cinco, that game breaking, like y'all said, and then the demoralizing and the talking, the you know, rock the baby. You got to kiss the baby.
Grill, man.
Like, it was a show, man. It was a show.
Ocho changed the game.
Yeah,
they find Ocho for what they want players to do now.
He was a show. So, you know, he talked about, you know, he talked it and backed it up. So I got him too. And Brandon Marshall, again, you know, just because of the fact that he didn't have the quarterback, I think that's what really hurt him more than anything. If you put him,
it's crazy to think that Brandon Marshall is the blue collar one out of these three.
Yeah, and at least you know, probably, you know, besides his mental health issues, probably the most low maintenance of the three. So it's crazy to say.
And he was crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what it makes it crazy to say. So it's a tough one, but you know, all three great receivers, but that's my Michael.
It was definitely a tough one. All three of these guys are
basketball. Man, it was just confirmed that the young prospect out of Kentucky passed away in a car accident today. Rest in peace, Terrence Clark. Yeah, that's a huge blow to everything. You know, so big prayers up to his family, and man, it's a hard one.
Yeah, definitely. I saw it before we went on live, man. That's definitely some sad news. Yeah, prayers to his family, man. That's definitely some sad news. But let's move on to the NBA. You know, we started hot takes. Kenny, I'm coming to you first.
I'm glad you did, baby. Here's my hot take right here. Tibbs is running away with the coach of the year. Monty Williams, have a seat. Whoever, wherever, any other candidates, it's Tibbs all day. Coach of the year. Literally, this guy has the number one ranked team defense. We're even scoring over this winning streak. We're scoring over 100 and I think it's 118 points a game.
Per game is definitely went up.
Yeah, and I saw something on ESPN today that they had a 2% chance of making the playoffs. That's what the prediction was.
It was low.
2% chance of making the playoffs and 25 wins projected. We are now the 4th seed. So hot take, Tom Thibodeau. Thank you, sir, for restoring my hope and restoring my faith in the Knicks. We're on our way to the playoffs. Tom Thibodeau Coach of the Year. Let's go.
Okay. Since we going hot takes, I think I have a very, very crazy hot take. The Milwaukee Bucks might be first round exits this year.
Whew.
And you said that, and seeing how they smacked your Sixers tonight?
Yeah, they definitely smacked us without Defensive Player of the Year, Ben Simmons. I want to see these guys shoot like this in the playoffs. Every time the playoffs come, everybody acts different.
That's fair.
I'm gonna revisit your hot take later on when we go through a question.
Yeah, because whenever the playoff comes, this Milwaukee Bucks team acts different. Now, I think they have a high chance because of Drew Holiday. I've been a Drew Holiday fan,
right.
And I feel like he makes a difference.
Right.
But
Drew
Holiday. It's Drew Holiday. Bobby Portis not making a difference in them
No,
winning this series.
No, he can score.
No, Bobby Portis is a problem. He's a problem. But when you're going against, all right, so this is why I said this. They might go against, Boston in the first round. Boston's a tough out.
Let's save it. Let's talk about this in the end. We got a question.
No. This is my hot take. I got to talk about it now.
Oh,
right now they're in third spot. They could be going against Boston in the first round. That's a tough out. Let's say they move up and they're, because they've been winning and the Sixers in Brooklyn have been resting guys. A lot of guys been hurt. So let's say they move up to the second spot in the East.
Yeah,
now you got to go against Miami. No, 7 is Miami. Now you're going against Miami in the first round. That's another tough out. But and then that's a team that if you were smart, you bet. I bet money that Miami's going to beat them last year, and they did. So when I look at Milwaukee, they better hope that things are different this year because you're going against two teams more than likely that was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and Boston that was in the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the past 4 seasons. So if you're talking about a team that has a rough playoff stretch, Milwaukee has it, and they could be first round exits. Could be. I'm not saying that they are. But they could be first round exits. What you got, Jay?
My hot take is, oh boy, Jokic. Denver lost Jamal Murray. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Denver looks better now than they did 2 weeks ago. And wow. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I would say that with them losing Jamal Murray in that time. I mean, they look like a well-oiled machine, and Jokic is playing MVP caliber. Denver's gonna be a force to be reckoned with going into the playoffs, man. They're gonna lock LA out from 4th seed, and LA's gonna have a showdown with Dame Dollars again, man. So we're gonna see.
I'm looking at it now. If they in 5, yeah. I mean, now Portland is 3 games behind that 5th spot. I feel you.
No, but they don't need it. They don't need to get in the 5th spot. All they need to do is stay right there, and the Lakers stay right there, and it's Lakers
and then the Lakers. And then it's going to be 4 and 5, 4 and 5 in the first round. So then it's Denver versus LA.
Denver, even worse.
And I'm putting 50 on. I'm putting 50 on LA immediately.
Yeah,
bring me my money.
I don't know, man.
I'm looking at the Denver's.
I'm with you.
Schedule because I need to check something before. I do have something I need to say today, but. I'm checking Denver's schedule.
Denver's been looking better. I don't think it's because Jamal Murray's out of there. I think it's because I think it's because now I feel you though they have been looking better. They've been inconsistent this season, but I feel like guys are coming back from injury and they're building chemistry that much needed chemistry with guys in new roles. So I feel you.
Wasn't it
they're definitely getting better.
Michael Porter last week?
I bring up Michael.
Yeah, that was me.
That was okay.
You brought him up.
Looking at him the last few games. He's turning into that point forward that they wanted him to be. He really is, man. And he's the guy with the basketball that they thought they were drafting. Now he's really starting to be that. I'm gonna put the ball on the floor, go to the hole strong. I don't have
that 2-man game. That 2-man game is going to be him and Jokic this postseason. Not Jokic and Murray. And like when you said breakout, that for me is going to be the breakout, Kenny. When it's 4th quarter and you're seeing Jokic run a 2-man game with Michael Porter Jr. and Michael Porter Jr. is able to be decisive. He can't be a playmaker or look to score. We talking about a guy I feel like he's going to average like 28, making 3 threes in the playoffs.
But through the Lakers. Why pass? Do the Lakers move up to that 4 seed?
Now
AD is back. AD is back. You figure LeBron is back for that last week of the season?
They 3 games back. It really depends on when LeBron comes back. Because I feel you,
There's
AD comes
14
back
games
help,
left.
and that's a 3-game. I think it's possible, but if I'm LA, it's like, I mean, you want it. You want that one. You want that home court for. But it's like, I think LA washes them either way. If I'm being honest.
I don't think
There's
so.
14 games left. I don't think Denver loses it now. It's too late.
I don't say
think-
it's too late.
Coming up, I think Denver has an easy schedule. But I'm gonna look at LA's schedule real quick, but I think Denver has an easy schedule for them to not.
LA's right.
Nate, what's your hot take, Nate?
So my hot take's actually similar to yours. About losing my hot take actually goes to Utah. I think that Utah is going to do what they normally do in the playoffs and choke in either in the first or second rounds. I get that they're number 1 seed in the West, but it's something about being the number 1 seed, doing really, really well, stunning like everybody. Something just about that team. I think that they're going to choke I don't think they're going to. Actually, now that I think about it, I think they're going to choke in the second rounds, not in the first, because standing at the first right now, they play the winner. Utah plays if season ended today, Utah plays the winner of Grizzlies and Warriors, which I think Utah will move on. But I don't see Utah in the Western Conference Finals.
I don't see them making it to the Western Conference Finals. I'm being completely honest. I think
Like
it's a
we've been saying,
possibility.
their first round exit, they play Golden State. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
if they play a consistent,
I can see that. I can see that.
There could definitely be a first round exit for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised. But let's move on real quick. Let's talk about James Harden. There's been reports that he has setbacks, when it comes to his coming back from that injury, and now he's out indefinitely. So, Kenny, I'm gonna go to you first. How do you feel about James Harden being injured, and how do you think that setback's gonna affect Brooklyn?
I just think it's going to affect their playoff position and chemistry. So, those two things. They're just not going to get a lot of time on the court together. But at the end of the day, these guys are pros, and these guys are just highly skilled and highly talented, high IQ guys. So I'm not as concerned about that. It's just the health is the only question for me. So as long as Harden is dealing with this hamstring, I'm not worried about KD. He just got a Charlie horse, man. And he'll be all right. But no, for real, yeah, he just got knee in his thigh. Yeah, he'd be all right. I mean, he don't have no thigh meat, so it probably hurt more than anybody else. But
It's already stopped hurting.
yeah, it just went straight to the bone. That's why it hurt so bad. But yeah, Harden, that soft tissue in that hamstring can be a concern. So the fact that he had a setback, that's concerning. But I think the only thing that's going to affect them is their seeding. They might, slide down to the 3.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's affect their seeding, but I posted earlier that I really feel like they can still make it to the Eastern Conference Finals without Harden. I mean, I feel like beating Kyrie and beating Kevin Durant in 7 games is tough to ask anyone. You got 2 guys that can score 40 and 50, 40 and 90 shooting efficiency, and that's something that's crazy because you don't see a lot of teammates that can do that. But when I look at Harden being out, I think like you said, the chemistry. I think that because we haven't seen that those 3 guys play a long period of time together. It was either Kyrie and KD, or you got Kyrie and Harden, or KD and Harden. So I feel like all of those 3 guys being on the court at the same time. I wish I'd have got to see that more. But as long as those guys are fully healthy, they're a tough out. So I feel like for me, it's just going to come down to health and seeding. At this point, I feel like Steve Nash and them don't really care about seeding. It's health over seeding for me. And I think a lot of people need to sit back and be like, if they're that confident, I mean, why shouldn't they be? You got 3 guys, that can be, that can
they're
carry
not worried
the team.
about having to win on the road. They're not concerned about that at all.
Like you have to beat them in 7 games.
Yeah, because right now we in today. They got the Heat in the first round. I think they beat them, and then in the second round you got the winner of the Knicks and Hawks. I think they beat both of them without Harden. So I don't think
I
they have an
agree.
issue until they meet Philadelphia.
Mhm.
To be honest. And then I see Boston giving them fits just because of the multiple athletic wings that they have. But outside of that, man, the Nets are going to walk their way into the Eastern Conference Finals. Harden can sit out the first round.
I think he will actually too.
Me too.
Yeah, they don't need him. They don't need him the first round.
The
don't
Nets are
think
not
he
going to
can match
move
up
past their. They're not going to
The
get
Heat
any
can't
lower
match up with
than
Brooklyn. That's the worst matchup for the Heat. Brooklyn.
Yeah.
What was you saying,
That's the
Nate?
worst matchup.
I think that the Nets are not going to get any lower than second. Right now, we have the Bucks. They're sitting 4 games behind the Nets.
Right
you
now,
saying the
the
seeding?
Bucks 2.5. The Bucks 2.5 games back because the Nets and the
You saying
Sixers are
seeding,
tied
though?
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And-
Philadelphia.
I was thinking of their wins.
No, Philadelphia is locking in that first overall. I don't, and like you
No.
said, Chris.
I can't.
And
I
they
don't-
need
the
it.
reason why
They needed work. They needed work. They needed better than either team in
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee or
Yeah.
the Nets, in my opinion.
We do,
Really
but here's
needs that
Well, I
first
think
seed.
Milwaukee needs it more than anybody.
Here's the thing: Milwaukee has the best chance to get it. They play Sixers again in 2 days, and then you still have to play Brooklyn twice. So Milwaukee has to play the top 2 seeds 3 times, and they're 2.5 games back from the number 1 seed. So Milwaukee can end out the season in the number 1 spot.
Realistically, you
honest.
think they're beating? You think they're beating the top 3 team? I mean, the top 2 teams. 2 out of 3.
Man, they just beat us tonight. If I don't see, I probably see Embiid sitting out in 2 days from now.
So then that would be 3 out of 4. You think they're gonna beat us 3 out of? They're gonna beat the top 2 teams 3 out of 4.
It's possible. Listen, if they think they're any good, they're going to get the job done. Because all games are at home. All the games are home. All the games are in Milwaukee. So if they feel like they're any good, the top 2 seeds, you're seeing them at home. If they think they're,
So you
this is going to.
saying put up or shut up then?
Yes, it has to be. You're seeing them at your house. It's put up or shut up. These are teams that you're going to have to play when it's time to play them for that money. It's put up or shut up. And Giannis took his break. Giannis took his break. He's ready to hoop. Drew Holiday got his break. He's ready to hoop. Middleton got his break. He's ready to hoop. They're hitting it all because they're 2.5 games back from the number 1 spot, and they played the top 2 teams a total 3 times in the season. Balls in their court.
If I had to give a ceiling and floor prediction, I think my ceiling is Bucks sweeping it, taking the rest of the games.
It could be possible.
It's possible. I mean, it seems like they're hitting their stride, and Giannis has a point to prove.
Mm-hmm. Giannis definitely has a point to prove because a guy that won 2-time MVP. A lot of people don't agree with it, especially that second time. But let's stay with this MVP conversation. I'm gonna go first on this. Who should be higher on the MVP list, Chris Paul or Steph Curry? For me, it's Chris Paul hands down. I don't understand why Chris Paul. I don't understand why Steph Curry is getting all this love for being a 9th spot right now. Because when LeBron had all those young guys in LA, he was a top 4 spot. Like nobody gave him any excuses. Nobody gave him any excuses. You look at the Warriors team right now. You got all these lottery picks from Kelly Oubre to Andrew Wiggins. You have Wiseman. You still have Looney. You have Draymond. You have Poole. You have Bazemore. You have Eric Pascal. This team has a lot of talent. And so for them to be the 9th spot, Steph Curry getting all this praise, I don't understand it. Why is Bradley Beal not getting all this praise? The leading scorer for 2 straight years in the same spot right now as the Warriors battling for a play-in tournament. Yeah, nobody's talking about him, but because Steph Curry is doing all this, doing all that, like he's getting a pass because Klay Thompson isn't there. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that because any other superstar, we're holding them to a certain standard. But because Steph Curry can say, Klay Thompson isn't there, then he's getting this excuse, this pass. Chris Paul went to the Clippers, made them better. Went to the Rockets, made them better. Went to the Thunder last year. They had, like you said, your Knicks had 2% chance. The Thunder had less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs. And yet they were a top 5 seed. You go to the Suns this year, and all they added was Chris Paul, and all they added was James Crowder. And he took them from a non-playoff spot to the 2nd seed, about to be a 1st seed. So Chris Paul, when it comes to value, Chris Paul value is here because I promise you if Chris Paul was on the Warriors right now, they would be in the playoffs. So for me, all this hype on Steph Curry, I don't agree with it because him and Bradley Beal doing the same thing, but nobody's giving love to Bradley Beal in the 2nd straight year doing it. Jay, how you feel about that?
Man, I ain't got to say too much. You said enough. You know, if Steph's in the conversation this much, they need a retroact MVP for Devin Booker last year
Yup.
in the bubble. So I need the retroactive trophy sent to you know. 'Cause there's no other way to do it. We was in the same spot. We finished in the same exact 10 seed. Devin Booker had, if you ask me, a better stretch than anyone's had this year. I mean, Steph is killing it, but Devin was doing it for game winners, night in, night out. These are called elimination games. He was in elimination games, bro. For what was it, 13 straight games he had to win? It was like they couldn't lose. So at the end of the day, no, I love it. I ain't taking nothing away from what Steph Curry's doing. But John Morant in Memphis had nobody this year. Everybody was injured on and off, and he's an 8th. You know what I'm saying? Look at Dallas, Luka. He's been doing his thing. Porzingis, the unicorn, has been disappeared and lost in some magical forest somewhere with other unicorns, and Luka's doing it all by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like I can pick out a few players from each team that are killing it that I don't even put in the MVP conversation. So I'm sorry, Steph. Love your band, but nah.
Honorable mention. Honorable mention.
Yeah.
Honorable mention. Kenny, how you feel about that? Chris Paul, Steph Curry, who should be higher?
Oh, Chris Paul all day. I'm gonna use the Kenny Smith term. Steph Curry is a looter in the riot right now. He's just putting up big time numbers, and they're not producing, turning into wins. They're basically who the Suns were last year. In the 9th and the 10th seed. And Chris Paul, just the bottom line is Chris Paul has taken a team that was out of the playoffs last year to the 2nd seed. How often has that happened? That says it all. This guy's they're knocking on the door at the 1 seed, and they didn't even make the playoffs last year. In the Western, right, in the toughest conference in the league. So that says it all. Chris Paul is over Steph Curry. Period.
Do you agree, Nate?
The only way I would put Steph Curry over Chris Paul is if the Warriors finish 2 rounds past the Suns, which they're not.
But you can't do that because
it ends in a regular season.
Yeah, you can't put that into it. So
yeah.
So they don't even have.
I'm going with Chris Paul.
What you're saying?
Yeah, so no. If somehow the Warriors won 14 straight and they end up the 6th seed, then okay, Steph Curry, you got it.
Yeah.
But we all know that's not going to happen. At the end of the day, if you're not that top 6 seed, all this talent on your team, you have no excuse because if you look at talent-wise, they're better than Dallas. They should be above Memphis right now. I'm not. You feel what I'm saying? Like, all this Steph Curry for everybody wants to switch up now because he had a couple good games on national television.
San Antonio, guys.
Couple good lists. I'm right.
San Antonio.
And San Antonio got the baby.
San Antonio has nothing. They have baby team and they still hooping. You could put up a couple good games on national TV, and all of a sudden you should be in the MVP, conversation. It makes no sense, but
Popovich is pureeing fruits and stuff to feed the kids after the game.
Giving them sippy cups.
So let's talk about a team. Let's talk about a team that solidified themselves as a playoff team. A team that a lot of people didn't have, making the playoffs this year. I was included, not because of hate, but because, I thought a lot of teams will play better, and they're disappointing me this year. Let's talk about the New York Knicks.
Let's talk about them.
What can the New York Knicks do in order to keep up their current success? And as a matter of fact, I'll save that question for Monday. So just is one question. Kenny, I'll go to you first. What can the Knicks do to keep up their current success they're having right now in the NBA?
I just think they're. Are we talking this season or going into next season?
We can do both. We can do both.
Okay, so real quick, just keep doing what you're doing. Defending, playing hard, running the offense is running. Through Randall, he's expanded his game. RJ Barrett is letting people know you're gonna put some respect on my name. D Rose is doing what he's doing off the bench, and closing games. And you got the young fella quickly. And you got guys on the bench, the young guys on the bench that I haven't seen any time, and Obi Toppin and Kevin Knox. So, there's potential.
And Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson is hurt. What's the Noel stepped in, and then they signed the other guy, Noel Powell, who's coming in and giving some length. So just everything is kind of broken right for the Knicks this year. And, I just think – and they got a chance to – I would take them in the first round against the Hawks. That's a great matchup.
If they play the Hawks, I think that's
a great matchup.
That's the gimme. That's either or.
They actually got a chance.
I don't know who's guarding Randall.
Yeah, exactly. Well, John Collins maybe.
I mean, for me, it's one or the other. I don't think that's a clear cut. I think that's the best matchup for them because that's a matchup that they can say, okay, we have a chance at winning. I don't know if they have a chance of winning if they go against anybody
Randall's
else.
Gonna be big boy. He gonna big boy Collins.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So in the offseason, to me, just in the offseason, it's just about getting a marquee free agent. That's the one thing that the Knicks haven't been able to do is get a marquee free agent. And Kawhi Leonard, I've been talking about him for the last few weeks. Kawhi Leonard, your uncle's here is in Jersey. Come on home. You got family that's gonna be there. It's his manager. So let's make it happen. We get that marquee free agent. And don't let the Mavericks not make the playoffs somehow. If they slip out and not make the playoffs and we have their pick and that's a lottery pick, all bets are off. It could be on and popping.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you.
I have one question. This goes towards Kenny. This was actually brought up in a show that I was watching. How would you feel if the Knicks went after Russell Westbrook?
I mean, point guard is the position of weakness right now, but I probably wouldn't do that because Russ is getting up there, and his style of play doesn't age well. So yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. And and Russ is an alpha, and I think right now this Julius Randle has definitely stepped forward as the leader of this team. And I think you bring in Westbrook, that messes up that chemistry. So yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I'm with you in the fact that just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
keep doing what they're doing. And for the all season, because I think it's that they have a chance to beat the Hawks for all season. For me, it's getting a guy that can complement Randall and everybody else better. Getting a guy that can help you get easier shots. Make sure you keep adding shooting, and then also, it's Tibbs changing up just a little bit. You got to be able to play your bench. Playing 7 guys every single game is going to cut it, especially when you got a lot of talent coming off the bench. Either have management realize that Tibbs only goes 7-8 and trade, so your 3 guys off the bench are juggernauts, or which they can do, or you actually get some guys to use because Randall playing 45 minutes a night. I don't think that's the look. You got guys like Obi Toppin that should be getting some more minutes. Him and Quickly, especially in the regular season right now, should be getting more minutes together. You got guys like Kevin Knox. If you're not going to use them, trade them. So
I think they're going to package him, and I think Kevin Knox.
They have to. For me, if I
package him in a deal to get another,
they have to. Yeah. The Knicks have some money this offseason. They have some picks. They have some assets. Please do not be the Boston Celtics and be scared to make a move. Make a move now because this free agency and next free agency is going to be hot. And they have the money to make it happen. So for the Knicks, I saw the tweet. I think they said LeBron said it. When the Knicks are playing good basketball, the NBA is better. That's Absolutely. A fact. Even though they've been trash for the past 80 years.
You gotta have the Lakers and the Knicks in the NBA.
And you got some of the most historic franchises playing at their best, and I think that's great for basketball, especially when they have great players on their team.
The Garden is called the Mecca for a reason. New York. There's nothing like New York basketball.
And it sucked when they were going to play bad teams. Now they're going in to play a good New York Knicks team. So it's good to watch. Jay, how do you feel about the Knicks? What do you think they should do to keep up their success?
You guys stamped it. I don't need to touch on what they need to do this year. It's plain and simple. Keep doing what they're doing. None of us expected them to be here. So who are we to criticize this? As far as moving forward, drafting. Keep drafting like you're drafting, man. You guys said it. Look. They're playing 7 players, and they got this bench of just diamonds in the rough, if you ask me. I think they have some of the best young talent on their bench out of any of the franchises in the NBA collectively. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep drafting the way you are. And go look at Victor. Go look at DeMar. Go look at one of those guys that's not going to come in and demand the ball but can still facilitate.
I'm looking at Lonzo, too.
Yeah, I don't like Lonzo.
Yeah, me either, because if you got to use Zion at the point and be the point forward, that says a lot about
That's
Lonzo
coaching.
Ball.
That's coaching.
Yeah, but if you trusted
No,
your
man,
point
I
guard,
don't like
if
Lonzo
you
for that
trusted
team.
if you trusted your point guard to run the team, then you put the ball in his hands. So
I
to
want
me,
a
that's
guy,
it.
and I
If you
know.
don't trust him with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and before I
I
say
feel
this,
you.
I know Lonzo Ball. I know he's improved shooting wise, but I want a guy that's a knockdown shooter. Whoever I bring in, he has to be a knockdown shooter because Julius is going to get doubled. I need a guy, a prime time guy that's a knockdown shooter. Period.
He
End
shoot
of
better
story.
than Victor Oladipo,
He
DeMar. I
does.
feel what you're saying.
He
I
does.
feel what y'all saying. I
No,
just had to say that.
no,
I just had to say that.
There's a
He
different type
catches
of
and
shooter,
shoots,
man.
though. Yeah,
Lonzo
he's a
Ball
catch
is
and
hit and
shoot. Yeah,
steal.
yeah,
Lonzo
yeah.
Ball
Yeah,
Catch and
that's
shoot.
the shooter. I think
Look,
that's more shooters Julius needs. If he's gonna get double teamed,
That's
he's a guy
fair.
that can kick it out and knock it down.
You're right. But not everything's gonna go like that.
No,
And
I feel you. I
Lonzo
feel you. They
is-
need more scoring. They need more scoring. So I feel
And they
you.
need
And that's
somebody
why
that can
I-
get their
I
own
just
shot.
had to throw that out there, Jay. I'm
Yeah.
not disagreeing with you. I just had to throw. I just had to throw Lonzo a little love. That's
Here's
all.
the issue. Here's the issue with
I
Lonzo.
test Victor's a better shooter.
Yeah,
I test
here's
Victor's a
the
better
issue with
shooter.
Lonzo. The issue with Lonzo is that he does not his penetration skills. Like he doesn't get in the paint and collapse the defense and then gets guys open looks.
As
He
much
gets
as
it
he
in
should.
he gets it in transition, like or throw it ahead, or on a fast break, he knows how to throw the lob and this and that. But in the half court setting,
He got like
he
flash
can't break
pass. He got the
he
flash
can't
pass
break his
that-
man down off
And
the
he's
dribble.
inconsistent with it. He's
And he can't break his
inconsistent
man
with
off
it.
the dribble and get in the paint and make something happen either for himself or for his teammates.
He's very you're right. He's very inconsistent with it because sometimes he'll do that, but his finishing is not as good as his brothers. That's why you see LaMelo really getting a lot of paint touches. But before we wrap it up with the rankum, I just got to say I apologize to Tibbs because before the season started, I questioned why he still got a head coach because this is a guy that keeps getting passed around from head coaching jobs and he's not winning anything and he has the same style. If I'm going to play 7 guys and overuse my starters, I didn't think he deserved a job over some guys like Sam Cassell, some other guys, but he's excelling. So I take my apologies. He's probably going to win
Can I
coach of
ask
the
you a
year.
question about that?
Yeah.
Is he like the Russell of coaching?
What you mean?
What in terms of he puts up numbers?
Russ is going to give you all of that. Tibbs teams, they're always up in the top 4.
They're always going to play better than their talent level.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get from Tibbs. They're going to play better than the talent level. The defense is going to be very good, and they're going to play 7, 8 guys. And if you're not one of those 7, 8 guys,
yeah, that's going to be the
we're going to have
question.
to wait
now.
and see.
Yeah, and now I saw today. I think it was a meme or something like that where he closed the gym and didn't give them, gave them guys a day off. So maybe he's adjusting. Maybe he's learning how to take his foot off the gas and really, try to get these guys to be in.
So instead of playing some other players, you just give the team a day off.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, especially because you said
Julius
Randle playing, 38 minutes a game. So anytime you can get a day off, man,
it's better. It's definitely better than nothing. But as we wrap it up for this rankum, Kenny, I'm putting you on the hot seat. You're going first with this. Rank them 1 through 3. Rod Strickland, Tim Hardaway, or Fat Lever.
Yeah, you're trying to get me disowned. For all of the listeners, all the watchers, all the fans. Rod Strickland. Yeah, Rod Strickland is my uncle. Like not play. Like my mom is his sister. So my mom is the oldest of the and he's the youngest. So this is literally my uncle, like for real. So there's no way I'm not picking him first. Because not only is he my uncle, he comes on my podcast. And we talk basketball. So there's no way he'll never come on my show again if I don't pick him number 1. And I will get a text in the next 5 minutes if he sees this and he says, and I don't pick him number 1. But no, honestly, for real, all jokes aside, the reason I'm picking him 1 is because he was the purest point guard out of the 3. He was the most complete point guard out of the 3 in terms of rebounds and assists. I take that back because Fat Lever was kind of a triple-double monster. So I take that back. But in terms offensively, he was better than Fat Lever. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's Rod's number 1. Then it's Tim Hardaway because Tim Hardaway wreaked havoc with with one move. That UTEP 2-step, he got that bop. He got so many people with that move for so many years. And then, you know, the way he offensively, he's probably the most offensive out of the three. So that's why I put him too, because he had that take over the game gene. And a lot of point guards don't have that. That's the differentiator. And then I got Fat Lever, another, you know, underrated kind of in that same category as Rod. But, you know, a triple-double, you know, Walker triple-double. Just wasn't as offensively as potent as the other two guys, but he had the all-around. And I don't think he was he wasn't the dynamic passer that Rod was. But, you know, Hardaway was the great scorer. So I got Rod, Tim Hardaway, and then Fat Lever.
Mine's the same order. When I look at Rod, I think he's definitely underrated. You listen to all of his old teammates talking. You know, I just heard Chris Webber talking about him and how, you know, great of a player he was, how he can get everybody involved. We talking about under the basket finishers. I mean, him and Kyrie, and then it's like nobody else is on their level. You know, so I feel like he's my number one. My number two is Tim Hardaway. He was a bucket. Like you said, that same move is going to get you every time. Not take anything away from him, but I feel like, you know, Rod was more complete when I'm talking about a guy that can score and get people involved consistently. And three, I got Fat Lever. Fat Lever is that triple-double monster. I think people need to look him up. You know, I'm not saying he's not the original triple-double because we know that was Oscar Robertson, but a guy that was, you know, very great during his era that doesn't get enough credit. I think he was a complete basketball player. And in my opinion, all three of these guys playing in the NBA today, they will flourish. You will see Tim Hardaway, you know, scoring, you know, like Kyrie. You will see, you know, Rod Strickland putting up 25 and 8, 25 and 9, 25 and 10. You will see Fat Lever averaging a triple-double like Russell Westbrook. So for me, I put this list together because I think all three guys will accelerate in this era today and really be, you know, three to top 10 point guards in the game. Jay, what's your ranking?
I think that you couldn't have put together a better three for ageless players. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna take a second and go a little childish on you. But when I played 2K, when I played NBA Live growing up, when I played basketball games even, I wanted a point guard that can rebound the ball, pass the ball, and score. I wanted to be able to do everything on the basketball court with my point guard. And, you know, you said it best. I've talked to you off air about it as well, Kenny. Rod Strickland's IQ at the basketball court, the way he managed the game, the way he had, you know, they talk about Chris Paul now for the players that don't know about Rod Strickland. They talk about Chris Paul and having everybody in the right places on the court at the right time. That's how Rod Strickland ran team was. He did everything in every category, and he was just really smart. I just love that style of basketball. He wasn't a small guard per se, and he didn't play like it. So I got Rod Strickland. Then you got Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway made the crossover. He made it something that people wanted to use every time he stepped in front of you. You want to challenge me? I'm going to the Tim Hardaway. And then it evolved into what it is today. You know, our Kyrie Irvings, our Steph Currys, our Allen Iversons, you know, so on and so forth, have just taken Tim Hardaway and excelled it. So 1, Rod, 2, Tim, and Chris, you said it the best. If you don't know who Fat Lever is, please go Google him. You know, he's a basketball legend, if you ask me, and he's an untalked about one. So go Google Fat Lever if you don't know about him, but that's the rank.
Real quick before I go to you, Nate, that like when Kenny talked about that Tim Hardaway move, first time I ever made somebody fall was off a double cross. Wasn't as fast as Tim Hardaway, but it definitely gets the job done.
Oh, right? No doubt.
Keep it tight, bang, bang, and you're going to get to where you got to go.
Right.
Nate, you know, to end it off, what's your rank?
So this might come to a shocker, but I'm putting Fat Lever at number 3.
I could have told you that.
Yeah.
What jersey was he wearing in the picture?
I said this comes to a shocker because Denver fan. A little joke earlier in the show. But, you know, number 2, I'm going to go with Tim Hardaway, and number 1, I'm going with Rod Strickland.
Yeah, this was definitely, you know, a list that I feel like could go either way, you know, based on personal preference. You know, either I think 1 and 2 could have, you know, a lot of people might have them, you know, flip flop. But if you know the game of basketball, you know how truly, like you hear a lot of people talk about Tim Hardaway. Not enough people talk about Rod Strickland, but when you hear when they talk about him, you know, talk about him like he deserved that jacket. Like he deserves to be in Naismith.
the respect is from his peers is,
and I think that means
clear.
a lot. That
Yeah.
means a lot more than, for me personally, than, big time recognition. If your peers that we're in the game with respect you, which they all do. I'm telling you, if you want to hear how good Rod Strickland was, go listen to guys like Chris Webber talk. Go listen to guys like Steve Smith and guys that played in that era, talk
Go
about how
watch it.
good he was, and go watch it.
Yeah. Or you could even talk to the current point guards that he's coached in the league right now, the John Walls, the Eric Bledsoes, the Derrick Roses, all of them will speak of his influence. So
he was definitely, definitely impacted the game right now. But that's a wrap for Road Talk on Thursday. Monday we're bringing the heat. Monday, hopefully Freddie can be back because, he always says I'm ducking him because I'm not on there. So now I'm calling you out. Freddie, you're ducking me.
Hey, next week
But,
draft week.
Next week's
it
draft week.
is draft
We
week.
got some special things prepared for you guys. Monday, we're going to talk a lot about the draft. So just be ready for Monday. Monday is going to be a great episode. We're also going to have a rank 'em brought to you by Jay. Jay put together a solid rank 'em.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It's definitely going to be one. It's going to be a tough one. More tough than this
It's gonna be a
week,
fun
and
one to
probably
talk about.
definitely probably the toughest ones we had, in the past couple of months. But thank you all guys for watching. To my guys, we had a great show. And I'll see you all Monday. Peace out.